stock's up.
Yeah.
How much do they need to worry?
Well, I think, this has been something that's been building, and these things have a slow burn, as they did with Microsoft and others. And so I think the question is that they're being hit by the state's attorney general. Obviously, the Justice Department's been looking into this, European regulators all over the world. And the U.S. is just catching up to what everybody else has known forever, which is we don't have competition in search. There hasn't been a new search engine since forever. And there has the same thing with social media. And the online advertising market is really a duopoly of Google and Facebook, and there's damage being done to lots of startups and things like that.
It seems to me, Kara, like Google and Facebook tend to win when we're talking about users and who likes to use the platforms. It gets more dangerous for them when we're talking about the advertising market, the power they have there, whether they are advantaging their own products over competitive products, things like that, right?
Right. I think, but this is not a new thing, John. You and I, the Yelp has been complaining for years, all kinds of companies. I think
but they were kind of like the lone one crying out, it seemed like, for a while. Now we got Basecamp complaining about them. Last week, that seemed different.
These are all small companies, really, comparatively. But the fact of the matter is, when was the last time blank? When I wrote this recently in the New York Times, when was the last time there was a new online advertising major power? When was the last time there was a search engine? When was the last time there was a social media network? 2011 for that one, for Snapchat, which is under siege from Facebook. And Facebook just recently announced, as they began to integrate Instagram into the Facebook platform, a version that Snapchat already has. And so I think these smaller players have a lot of reason to complain about it. And then the question is, does it hurt consumers? Even if you like something, they're able to provide those prices to you, and which is free, essentially, because they have the monopoly. And so it's a really complex time for these companies, and they really need to be very careful, because regulation is coming, obviously.
I realize we're going to get more details in terms of these state attorneys generals and their probe into Google later today at this event. That being said, you do already have federal regulators here in the U.S. that are taking a look at big tech. The fact that you have the state attorneys jumping in as well with their own separate investigation, how unusual is that?
Not at all. That happens all the time. There's always these things happening, and they come in a confluence of events. And the interesting thing about the state's attorney general is that it's bipartisan, and that's really, it's been that same thing in Washington. The only thing everyone agrees to in Washington is that big tech is powerful, and we might want to do something about it. Now, the reasons for doing something about it is very different depending, on the federal level, with conservatives saying they're being too liberals saying they're letting too many Russians in. But it's the same theme, which is these companies are too big and powerful and in too much control. And the question is, what's the remedy? And I think that's the big question. Where is the remedy going to go? And it's got to obviously be coordinated among federal and state. But they can't just do these consent decrees, because, look, Facebook violated it and then paid a fine. They've got to have real laws around privacy, around competition, that will actually set the rules of the road and the guardrails for these companies, which I need to stress again, there aren't any rules for these companies ever. So, except ones that help it. And so the question is, where are the laws?
This camera is going to get a tight shot of the pin on your lapel.
Oh, yeah.
Which references, I guess,
I'm
alphabet,
trolling
really.
someone, Don't be evil.
Don't be evil.
Yeah.
Is that a signal that you think they have more liability than Facebook on this stuff?
I think they all do. I think I don't know. I don't. I just think they have more of a dominance of that particular marketplace. And so, they're all going to say anyone can leave at any time. That's going to be that was their statements, right? That it's free and this and that. But free ain't free. Let's just be clear on that.
And that's the users, not the advertisers. If you're an advertiser, it's not like you can leave at any time. You got to deal with Google or Facebook. Chances are both to reach the total audience that you want to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think part of what's happening here that's interesting to me is that it is bipartisan, but it seems like that has to break down at some point when it comes to remedies. These companies are probably going to try to play one party against the other, talking about either loss of jobs in California, which Republicans probably don't so much care about, or something on the free market side. This bipartisanship probably won't last forever.
Lots of jobs thing. It's just like, look, Amazon didn't make it here in New York, right? Now they're hiring a ton of people here. The question is, how many gimmies do you want to give these companies? And at the same time, we want to keep them innovative. They're great companies, but they need rules of the road so that new companies can come forward. And I just think the argument that they are so great and we love them so much goes only so far. We need new companies to give us new things to be competitive, and competition is always better with more competitors, or prices are. Everything is better with more competitors.